the big... This one right here.
Hey, Cox.
Hey!
This is the way we work, RJ!
Be a fish. God damn it.
Yeah? Bring him again.
Hey, was je toontje op?
Wat lijkt.
Hey!
How about it, man?
Horse race.
Titan?
Yeah,
I'll bring him
yeah,
for...
it's a little bit windy.
Hey, man. Hey. How you doing?
Good.
Where are we?
Good catch.
The people, man, the fucking noise. You go out and the first song, and it's just fucking, and you just, I mean, what else does a person need to go fucking absolutely over the top?
First time we played in Seattle, Washington, we played the Paramount Theater, which is where I went to my first concerts and saw Queen, Kansas, and Rush on the same bill. I saw Blue Oyster Cult with T-Rex opening. I saw Kiss, and Savoy Brown, and the list goes on and on. First time we went to Seattle, that's where we played, and I was freaking out. I wouldn't come out of my hotel room. We were staying across the street from the place because I was so nervous. It was the first time I'd been nervous in years. It was such a turning point for me to play where I had stood in line, slept overnight to see bands, and all of a sudden there I was playing there.
Geez, you know, the best thing about the last 10 years is the fans, man. The rock and rollers that have come out and supported us for the last 10 years, it's been amazing. And I can't get enough of it. I love it.
This is a song from way back in 1982. It has a special meaning to me because it's the first song that we played together that really made us a band and gave us a sound of Motley Crue. It goes something like this.
No, my dad said, he told me he used to play in the marching band when he was in school. And, no, that's about all he did, so he didn't really, I mean, I guess he's a musician. He played the drums, you know? Yeah.
4 EAW cabinets.
You didn't take care of that, Rich, right? You'll take care of that?
Management is freaking out.
I think the first time that music really got me was when my grandparents used to listen to country radio, and I heard Jimmy Dean singing Big Bad John, and it was the coolest song of all the country songs at the time. And I remember I started making requests. I lived in Twin Falls, Idaho. I started making requests like twice, 3 times a day to hear that song. I think the VJ, back then I guess it was DJ, started getting really sick of hearing my voice. Fuck.
Let's go! My first musical instrument was a piano when I was like 8 years old. And my dad and mom brought it home. They got it for free from some hobo or something. And that's where I really started getting interested in music. And I moved out here to California, and my cousin bought me my first guitar for $12 from a pawn shop. I think it was a Stella. And that's what really started me off on my musical career.
First time I ever played in a band was, I'd say I was about 16 years old, and we were playing in my backyard. We'd put out flyers, and we had some keggers and stuff, and band was called Rock Candy, and my parents had gone away for the week, or for a couple days, you know, that's what I thought anyway. And anyways, we had all these people. There's like 300 people. There's people on the roof. People were diving into the pool, and it was completely out of control. And then all of a sudden, my parents came home, and I was like, I thought I was in big trouble, but you know, I don't know. They dug it. They were shocked, but they really liked the music a lot. It was really cool. And you know, my dad was dancing with these girls and stuff in the living room, and they ended up staying and hanging out until the police broke it up. So I thought it was pretty cool.
I remember one time I was with a friend of mine, and we were sitting on Sunset Boulevard, and these two fans came up, and I had a black Corvette and blacked out windows, beautiful car, and comes up and asked for an autograph, and so I give him an autograph, and we talked for a second, and the kids walked away, and then I rolled up the window, I started to take off, and then I stopped, and my friend goes, what are you doing? And I go, I'm going to tell them, because they were talking about the car, you guys bought this car. And he goes, no, don't do that. They're going to think that you're a snob, that you're saying, oh, yeah, thanks for the car, man. You bought it, right? But I was trying to say thank you, because if the fans didn't go out and buy the albums, I couldn't live. You know, this is like my job. I make music that entertains people. But if it wasn't for the fans, there would be no home. There would be no nice car. There would be no tattoos, because I couldn't afford them. And the fans make us what we are.
Motley Crue, yes! Let's go! Making sound!
Tommy Lee! Ghost is funny!
You know, a lot of people aren't fortunate to be able to do what they like to do, but fuck, you know? Well, then don't do it. Try something else.
They're just a bunch of fucking comedians. I love these guys. It's fucking hilarious.
Hey, Lon, can you put those curtains back on the up?
I can't believe it.
That doesn't matter.
Now ethnic slurs. It's bad enough hearing the shit jokes for 4 hours, and the booger jokes, and the bodily fluid jokes. Now they're fucking making fun of my religious upbringing.
So you really are going to have to get in.
The cover, boys. The cover of what?
A lot of inspiration when I started first playing the guitar comes from Jeff Beck and Michael Bloomfield and a lot of the more bluesy feeling guitar players. I get a lot of my rock edge from guitarists like Ritchie Blackmore, a few guitarists like that. And that's basically how I developed my style, although I do tend to lean towards the blues. Like that kind of stuff. It's my favorite.
Do you guys like these artsy angles?
People always ask me about my son Gunnar, what he's going to be when he grows up, or what I want him to be, or is he going to be a musician like his dad, or whatever. That sucks. Can you imagine? That's what I grew up with. I'm not going to do that to him. He can be anything he wants to be. He can, it's his life. You know, I just try to help him out. And, you know, I know there's a lot of Motley fans out there that have kids, and they have to have the same attitude as I do, because that is the Motley Crue attitude towards life, is don't put me down. Don't tell me what I can do, and just let me be me, whatever that is.
Yeah, I'd taken guitar lessons when I was, geez, probably about 9 or 10, maybe even earlier, I'm not sure. But I was such a keyed up little kid that I didn't want to practice, you know. I was like, I just wanted to be good at it right then. And I really wish that I would have stuck with it, you know. I mean, you have to practice practice makes perfect, you know, that's what they always said.
There's a space down by Jeff Beck.
Where?
We got Jeff Beck here, there you go.
Cool.
Get on top of Jeff Beck there.
We like Beck. We love Beck, actually.
What was it? It was old. It was like, fuck, I can't even remember the year of that thing. I borrowed it from junior high school, from 6th grade. They had a little band there, and they had a old gold sparkled Ludwig kit that was pretty wild, and that they let me borrow. I remember for a weekend, man, and that weekend seemed like a month to me, man. I never had a drum kit, and here this thing was a school let me borrow for like the weekend, and I played that fucking thing all day, all night for the whole weekend. It was badass.
I see the band staying together pretty much no matter what. We've been through so much together. I can't see much breaking the band up except for if anybody in the band decides to get back into drugs again.
Down! Come on, Vincenzo. Let's go!
When I'm on tour and stuff, sometimes guitar players for opening bands come in and they're playing their licks over and over again. So I'm practicing. I'm thinking to myself, now why is this guy practicing? Doesn't he know these licks by now? Whenever I practice, I like to do something completely different because the licks I know. I don't need to practice them. So I try to invent or create something new.
That's the coolest, man. That like blows your mind. You look out there and everybody's like singing the words. You go, fuck. I mean, I get fucking goosebumps, man. Totally. I fucking lose it, man. I start fucking like getting excited and like thinking about it and looking at it and stuff. And I fuck up songs. I forget where I'm at because I'm so excited. You know, it fucks me up sometimes.
Fans have always known what's going on with this band.
The best thing about the last 10 years has been our fans. The fans have stuck with us, you know, through the good times and stuck with us through the bad times, and have grown up with us, you know, and it's just amazing. Man, our first recording session was scarier than shit.
It's really a blur. We did it so fast.
Fucking freaked me out, man. I mean, never been in a studio before.
Fucking so green, man. I didn't really have a clue. I just knew I dug the music, and I just went in the studio, put my headphones on, and beat the fuck out of the drums and played the music, you know? Had like a really good time.
I didn't really know the words, so if you listen real carefully, you can hear me turning the pages.
We'd never done one before, so you're just tripping out. You're so excited to be in the studio, and before you know it, it was over. And I was like, wow, it's over. And I didn't really try. I didn't grasp it, you know? I was so excited to be in there, I didn't really notice.
was really scary. It was really an experience. Things have gotten easier since then.
My manager said to me, he said, don't make kids choose between you and another artist. And I never asked bands to choose. I'm simply sticking up for, you know, myself. When somebody else puts me down, you know, we don't dig it. And when they put down our band, we stand up for it, just like you would for your own family. I don't think we're asking fans to choose if we decide to put down certain other groups. If other artists decide to slag on other artists, you know, the fans can dig both bands' music. It's a personal thing. And this conflict is probably very healthy. You know, I think without conflict, we'd all be pretty bored, wouldn't we?
When I get frustrated in my studio, I usually come down here to my shop here and reload my own bullets because I like to shoot my guns. This is a 454. It's my favorite.
I don't know if you can see everything, but there's a coconut in the Y of the tree. You can see the squash. There's a pumpkin on a sandbag that you blew up the last time you were here, with the dead pumpkin right underneath it.
I know. See if you can hear the sound of the bullet hitting. No, there is no other musicians in my family. However, as far as ancestors go, yeah, I did have one way back in the 1800s. He was a violin instructor. He got ran over by a train.
That's weak, man. That and that don't go together. That's fucking bad.
The most memorable tour, you know, that I would have to say would be our very first tour, and that was the Ozzy Osbourne tour. And that was nuts. I mean, completely out of control, over the top, later, nuts. Ozzy's like the greatest guy, man. And he taught us so much. We had so much fun. And Ozzy is just like the king, man. I mean, like the way we treat bands, you know, our opening acts is the way he treated us. I don't know, he's just, he's like our mentor, you know, we love the Oz. Ozzy. His choice, man. We had a blast. It was fun.
Went to an Ozzy Osbourne show a couple of weeks ago, and Gene Simmons was standing there from Kiss, and I go, dude, fuck, if you only knew, you know, I was a little fucking bonehead, you know, sitting in my bedroom at home, and I bought a Kiss Alive album, and I opened it up, and I fucking just went nuclear, man. You know, I was like, who the fuck are these guys? And, I put on the record, and I just tripped out, and I told him, like, you know, that guy changed my life, you know, and I'm sitting here talking to him, and he's going, wow, that's wild, man. You know, like, he couldn't even really relate to it. It was fucking bizarre. Pretty bizarre conversation, actually, that we had, you know. But, he's a real cool guy. It was fun. But that's really, I bought a Kiss record, and I started beating on cardboard boxes. You know, I didn't have drums yet. And I just had set up as many boxes as I could and turn them upside down, and they sounded like drums. They worked, you know. It was cool.
The band is really doing some growing without losing the fact that we're still a rock and roll band. Because when we get together, the vibe of Motley Crue comes out through the music. It's not contrived. That feels really good to me, that we don't have to try to be Motley Crue, because we are Motley Crue.
Do you have your wife do this?
Yeah.
You do? Does she go, God damn it?
Yeah.
Heather giving you a little...
When are you going to grow your hair back?
Does she want you to?
Yeah.
Probably tired of it.
Yeah. This will be the last hawk that I'll be having.
In the world, we'll have them after this.
Glenn? Will you lace my shoes for me?
How's that? Thanks for the light, bud.
When you're done.
Sweet, dude.
Mick, oh man, he's the devil. He's Satan. I swear to God, man, I don't know much about Mick. I don't think anybody does.
The man is one of the best blues guitarists of this day and age that I know of. You know, he learned from the guys that are the kings, and he can play that style of music so well. And doesn't get a chance to show it off a lot in Motley Crue.
He really rocks my world when he plays. Oh, fuck, man, that's amazing. That's my Mick.
Any advice that I would have for any aspiring new musicians, guitarists, drummers, or whatever, is to be as original as you possibly can. Whether anybody comes up to you and says, oh man, that doesn't sound good, but it's like, be your own self, always play your own licks, don't be like anybody else.
This right here, this is a part of my life right here. This is a Formula One car. It's a race car. And I've always been fascinated with speed all my life. And the lifestyle of a race car driver. I mean, you know, like what little boy never wanted to be a race car driver? And so this is something that I do also, I race cars. And it's really cool because it's, I mean, it really is the closest thing to being on stage. It's insane. And you get the adrenaline, man, it's pumping, and you know, got the you're like at a gig, and it's really cool. And but racing cars, man, I love cars. I'm living the Kickstart My Heart life. It's I love this video because it's got so much action and I mean it's racing. It's it's making your heart beat 1,000,000 miles an hour without anything. Just the adrenaline, just the natural excitement, and that's it. Us Festival, 1983. The most radical concert I think we've ever played. It was unbelievable, man. There was so many people. I could not believe it. We flew in by helicopter. I think it was like one of the first times we ever did that, and it was unreal. Looking down and flying through all the people, and it was crazy, man. I mean, there was so many people you couldn't see where the crowd ended. And I tell you what, man, we did songs. This is 1983. Shout the Devil came out in 1984. And the only people that knew of us were just like local LA people. And you know, that maybe had heard of us in clubs and stuff like that. But there was 300 and some odd thousand people there. And we go out there looking the way we did back in 1983. And doing songs from Shout the Devil, which wasn't even released yet. And so that was scary. But, man, by the time we ended, people dug it. And I was like, yeah, we can conquer all.
Well, are we having fun yet? Are you enjoying this video? Are you cranking the fuck out of it? I thought so.
Growing up, I was totally in awe of Aerosmith. They were my Rolling Stones. And, you know, Tyler and Perry and the whole cool thing, they were so cool, and they played cool, and they looked cool, and the lyrics were cool. This is the coolest band on the planet. And about 5 years ago, I got to know Steven, and it just was the icing on the cake. He's a great person, really on top of it. And I know he wasn't always on top of it, similar to myself. But he's great. Very great musician, great singer, great songwriter. A lot of respect for him. So after all these years, to still have respect for somebody, that says something about the person. My favorite bass players are the bass players that basically laid it down right in the pocket, real simple, something like a... Real simple stuff, you know, Pete Way from UFO, and he'd do stuff like... then go like... that kind of stuff.
I lost my contact. I can't go. I have my contact. I can't move. It's here somewhere. I'm leaving. I can't find it.
Fucking suck my fucking dick. Learn to fucking rock, cunt face.
Fucking Ethel Merman.
Suck it. Ethel Merman.
Yeah, I got out of a few hobbies. You know, I get frustrated, or you come into the studio here and nothing really comes out. You know, I'll get on my bike and my dirt bike and take a blast. Get out of the room for a while. take a big fucking speed putt, you know. Come back, and then I'm inspired again.
You know how great our fans are. They even give us the plates off their car. I mean, look at this. The the tags are still on it, man. I don't know how they get away with this stuff. So, I mean, our fans are so cool, man. Like, they have stuff from all over the place. I got Virginia, 88, you know, Rolls, R-U-L-Z. That's kind of cool. I even have one here. This is from a German fan. It's kind of cool, huh? A little different. But I tell you what, man, the coolest slogan on a license plate is this right here. New Hampshire, you guys are heavy. Live free or die. That's radical.
I've never taken a music lesson in my life. I always thought that, I mean, lessons aren't bad. I just felt that if you get too much in the technical end of music, you tend to lean towards like, oh, you're playing a lick and you really like it, but oh, gee, that's not technically right. Well, I never felt that way. I've always felt that whatever feels right to you is the best. So no, I've never had any lessons or anything. I just feel what comes from my gut.
You know what? I take vocal lessons right before we do each album, just to get my voice in shape, because your voice is just like a muscle, you know, and if you don't use it all the time, it gets weak. And so before we go in and record a record, I go and do a lot of vocalizing just so I can get my chops back up for the record.
I'm glad where we came from was exploited lyrically on the albums. You know, kids lived that out with us. A lot of our fans now are my age, you know, 30 and up, and they have, you know, now got families and have gone through their own little, you know, scenarios, whether they're good or bad. And I think our music relates to them now on that level. You know, we still have songs like She Goes Down, which I think everyone can, you know, enjoy. It's like it's tongue-in-cheek rock and roll. You know, it can't be too serious. Yet at the same time, I believe, you know, lyrically, there's time to kind of do some thought-provoking stuff. Something like Primal Scream's a good example. I think that touched on something a lot of people can relate to. You know, and the Primal Scream theory and therapy is and was very rock and roll. It's something that, it's basically about the release of pinned up, you know, energy and pinned up, you know, anger. When you're pissed off and sick of people telling you what to do, you primal scream. You go to a rock concert, you primal scream.
I mean, there's so many stories that I would love to tell y'all, but I can't. And but I tell you what, we have such a good time, man. And I don't know, when the four of us get together, man, it's like trouble follows us, and we meet it head on, man. And it's a blast. We you know, we're just like you know, four brothers, man. We just go out and hang out with each other and tear up places, and gets pretty wild at times.
I love doing Anarchy in the UK. The song, it was, there was no, we had nothing to live up to in the sense of being musically precise. So we just kind of attacked it real nonchalantly, and I think that's part of the magic of the song in the original as well. Because the Sex Pistols were a real non-serious musical band, real serious on attitude, and that's sort of how we attacked the song. When we did the video in Europe, played the Marquee Club, which was a trip, you know, it's like only 200, 300 kids there to see us play, where the next night we were playing in front of 75,000. It was great getting the feedback from the kids that close, and we did Anarchy. it really turned into a punk show.
I still didn't know what I wanted. It took me to the end of the song when you're back.
You can't fuck a punk song up. It's impossible.
If it was one of our songs, it'd be kind of a bummer. But
Dude, it's the Sex Pistols, so they probably thought we planned it that way. They're all, that's heavy. You hear how sloppy they played Anarchy? They're heavy. They're cool.
To me, it's home. To others, it could be a nightmare. But, I mean, there's anything you want, you can get in Hollywood. Any role you ever wanted to play, you could play it in Hollywood. It's like fairy tale land, you know, but it's great because you know it's always there, but you can always leave it if you want.
You know what a lot of bands don't do is they don't age gracefully. And I think the key to that is just being yourself. I remember when a couple of the guys in the band got married in the early 80s or mid 80s, people were freaking, you know, it's like, oh, this band can't, you know, be married because it's this. I mean, we were always like, why? And then it was, we quit doing drugs, and it's like, well, you know, we're not going to be the bad boys of rock, or we're not going to be out partying all night, so now we can't play rock and roll. And now a couple of us have kids, and it's the same, I keep hearing the same thing. Oh, now they got kids. Oh, now they're over 30. And, man, someone, you know, mentioned to me, they said, well, what about Keith Richards? He quit doing drugs. He's got kids, and he's over 30. And that is the type of people that we aspire to be.
Dude, are we done yet?
I'm out of here, man. See ya.